Hello and welcome to the Cancelled Movie Report, the documentary podcast series that talks about the best movies that Hollywood never made. My name is Michael Campbell, but you can call me Cambo. And joining me, as always, is actor and comedian, Mr. Eden Porter.
Thank you very much for having me, Cambo.
Now, this is part 2 of our Cancelled Movie Report about Green Arrow Escape from Supermax. So, if you haven't listened to part 1, make sure you do that first. But if you need a little reminder, here's a quick recap.
So they've pivoted Green Arrow a little bit to be more like, and this is David saying this, David Esquire, he's saying to be a mix of MacGyver and Jason Bourne. And then we've got an older Quinn now in his 30s sitting front and centre. His childhood best friend, William Hackett, is addressing the crowd. And he approaches the microphone. But just as Queen is about to speak, he has the little police radio go off in his ear going, there's a shooting going down at Checkmate HQ. And he goes, I've got to go. He charges in for a fight, but it's empty. There's just a chair with a slumped figure of Colonel Khalid. He's dead with a green arrow in his chest. But then looks up, he's surrounded in cops. Freeze, put your hands up.
Since we have no confidence that a conventional lockup will be able to contain a man of Mr. Queen's abilities, it is the recommendation of this court that he spends the remainder of his life in the only place in the world that can lock him down. The Supermax Penitentiary for Metahumans.
Door slides open and a single figure walks out. It's the warden of Supermax, Amanda Waller. She clicks the button on her sort of clicker and it forces his parallax device to sort of burst into electric shocks and he starts passing out and like going nuts on the ground. So she hates him. The clerk says Queen would have to be declared dead before they could release his estate. His entire cell moves backwards. A giant hydraulic sort of system pulls his cell up and suddenly starts switching all the cells around.
They reconfigure every night. Disorientation makes you think twice about breaking out, doesn't it?
My name is Hartley Rathaway. They once called me the Pied Piper. We want to know your trust and your willing partnership in our escape.
It's time to escape the Supermax.
Now, let's get back into the film. Okay, so what I've noticed about this film is there's a lot more setup of the prison than I was expecting there to be. Because we're like halfway through the story now, and the breakout is just about to start happening.
Yeah.
And but they've taken like a lot of care to create this world of Supermax prison.
Yeah, you can really see that we mentioned before, like Justin the writer really he went to architect school or whatever it's called.
Architect school.
Yeah. House building school. He loves that side of it. He makes it a character.
I can imagine puts his hand up to his professor. Is there a way like in a prison that things could come apart and readjust themselves on hydraulic arms?
So just for argument's sake, if I had a prisoner that could get really cold, could I melt him somehow or something?
Yeah, it's like, son, what do you think architecture is?
Exactly. So we spent a bit of time building it up. We've got the drama going on with Cross trying to take over his company. His best friend
being helped by his best friend / lawyer.
Yeah, has turned against him.
/ dirty dog.
Oh, dirty dog, dirty rat. And so then we've got all the pieces in play for an epic escape from a maximum security prison.
So the only one we know at the moment he's working with is Pied Piper.
Yes, correct. But like all great heist movies, you've got to assemble your team.
Yeah. And it's quintessential in any heist or escape movie, the montage where you assemble the team.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a different guy for every
part of the thing. Yeah. And you know what's great about this? Because you've got people with different abilities, then things come to the table. Okay. Yeah.
Can I just say, superhero heist movie would be great.
It actually is a cool idea because everyone has... And we'll get to it, Cambo. We're spoiling. But before we get to all that fun stuff, let's get back to the boardroom. Okay, so we're back in the Queen Industries boardroom. Hackett is sitting as a guest is brought in, surrounded by federal marshals. We see a pair of boots that look very similar to the ones we saw that killed Colonel Khalid.
Oh, so it's Oliver Queen, because he killed Colonel Khalid.
Twist number 1, Michael. Yes, we pan out to see Arthur King.
Fans will recognize him as
Merlin.
Oh.
The Dark Archer.
Okay.
Green Arrow's nemesis. Cambo, you never Oh,
Sure.
mate, come on. You got to do some more research. Yes, Merlin is basically the other bad version of Green Arrow. He
Right.
also fires arrows. He dresses in black.
Okay.
So Hackett dismisses the federal marshals, and Merlin.
Was he in the CW show?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were all. in
Which
the CW.
soap opera star played Merlin?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll look it up for you, Kevin. I'll put his picture will flash up on screen. But Hackett offers Merlin a deal. He can get Merlin transferred to a more relaxed prison facility if he takes out Green Arrow inside Supermax. Merlin, he agrees, as long as everyone knows it was him that brought down Oliver Queen. He's sick of being the second best archer.
But they released Merlin from prison to go and do this murder. He is an incarcerated fellow.
He is incarcerated,
Yeah.
and they're going to move him to Supermax.
Yeah. But I'm saying for the initial murder that happened in episode 1, they got him on like a day release to go and do this murder.
Yeah. I didn't think of that. I know what you're saying.
Or did they also get him for that murder too?
I think he might have been in jail for like tax evasion or something totally unrelated to the murders. So
Insider trading.
insider trading, that's right. Now we're back in Supermax, but we're in the shower. All good prison films need a good shower scene.
Yeah.
Vapor rises from the hot water and obscures all the cameras.
How's he going to weaponize the vapor water? Okay.
Just you
Yeah,
wait.
sorry.
Just you wait,
I shouldn't
Gabo.
get ahead of myself.
Everyone else, they slowly leave. You probably got a great butt shot of here, like sexy butt shot.
Couple of Damon cheeks.
Yeah, correct. Just imagine that. Everyone else leaves, and only Queen is left facing the wall. Suddenly, he instinctively ducks as a fist slams into the porcelain tile in front of him. Blockbuster and his thugs have come to soften up Queen. They grab him and throw him around the shower. Queen dives into the mist, and the thugs sort of fan out to find him. Queen ducks near an electrical socket nearby. I don't know why there's an electrical socket in a shower room, but anyway.
Maybe when the prison reconfigured it accidentally went there.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. He then yanks it out, and he's pulled out 2 wires.
Yeah.
He then sort of wraps them around each other, but then suddenly a hand slams around his throat. It's Blockbuster. He holds him up against the wall, choking him, and Blockbuster looks at him and says, "No one's going to help you in here." Then Queen lifts himself up, grabs the faucet, pulls his feet off the wet ground, and drops the wires, electrocuting everyone in the room. So all the attackers fall down screaming. The current shorts itself out. Queen steps down, walks over the bodies, and he says, "No one's going to help me. I can help myself." Yeah, zing, mate. Zing. The MacGyverisms are awesome.
Yeah,
They do a lot of them. Now we cut back. He sort of walks into the cafeteria again, and he's sitting down next to the Pied Piper, and they have a little bit of a chat about the plan.
I see you've been making friends.
Queen shrugs, holding up his wrist, studying the parallax device embedded in his forearm.
Have you ever had a battery replaced on one of these?
Not once in 7 years.
That must mean they take their power locally, which means that they have a radius of operation, which means if we get outside the radius, we'll disappear.
We need to blank the system, short out the tracking grid, put alarms offline.
And who could do that?
Class 5, the most uncontainable of all prisoners. Locked down 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Counted among this group is a man they call Jin.
We cut to a cell door and zoom inside to see Djinn, a dark-skinned Arab with a shaved head and shaved eyebrows. In fact, he has no body hair whatsoever. He sits cross-legged in a corner.
He holds a mortal form, but is capable, upon access to technology, of translating himself into something else.
We zoom in on Djinn's eyes, millions of ones and zeros inside. Binary code. Software.
Remember the Manhattan blackout?
Cut to a flashback of Times Square. The bright plasma displays suddenly shut off. The city's power grid has melted down. On a large monitor, we get a brief shot of Djinn's free-floating digital form throughout all the pixels. We cut back to the cafeteria.
So we upload him into the system.
And we have an EMP.
Now we just need to figure out a way to get to him.
Then we cut to the rec yard, and we see Queen approaching Albert Tarrant, And fans will recognise him as the Tattooed Man.
The Tattoo Man.
Yeah, tattooed. Tattooed man.
Sorry.
He's covered in tattoos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
Interesting twists,
Yeah.
Cambo. They keep coming. Apparently, he can get you anything you need in the prison, right? So Queen passes him a list. The Tattooed Man says, he looks at it, he goes, yep, I can get everything except for this oscillator. I can't do like super complex technology, but I can do parts that you can build into something else. So in exchange, Queen gives him several sort of flex cards worth of a week's food, and the Tattooed Man, we see his tattoos. So how it works, Kembo, is he draws a tattoo on himself, and then he goes, and the tattoo comes alive.
to life.
Yeah.
But his chip in the arm doesn't stop that?
Yeah, it doesn't explain that. It doesn't explain that.
It's going to make some notes to send to the screenwriters of this movie.
But,
imagine,
well, if they don't see you
15
doing
years
it,
later,
if they-
some random person's like, got some notes on your script.
I know you've just written.
Why was there an electrical socket in the shower?
Yeah. I know you've just written Top Gun Maverick, but I've got some questions about Green Arrow suit. Imagine that in a press conference. Amazing. So, Tattoo Man, we see him. He's got snake tattoos, and they all start moving, and the snakes sort of come out and come into him and stuff like that. Looks pretty cool.
Yep.
He sort of nods. He gives him the all the flex cards, and he says, "Yep, I'll do it." Queen leaves him to gather his supplies. We're then back with Queen in his cell at night, as the prison's inner hydraulic system starts to rearrange all the cells. Now he watches the cells floating through the space. Now I really want you to explain this to me, Kemba, because I didn't go to architect school.
Okay, yeah.
He's using small pieces of torn off t-shirt, right, that he's using as threads to weave a complex map like tapestry, mimicking the paths of the cells.
Okay.
Can you explain that to me?
So I would imagine that he's laid a t-shirt down,
Yeah.
and when one cell goes from left to right, he takes a thread from left to right and marks it. And then when it goes from right to left diagonally on the other side, he takes a thread and he does that, I guess, to work out a pattern. It's gobbledygook.
That's a pretty good explanation, though, Cambo. That's actually, I was reading that line going, hang on, what is he using? A tapestry mimicking the paths of threads of the cells? I was just like, wow, this is ridiculous. But okay.
Because like it might form a pattern, like maybe it's diamonds, and maybe it's there could be something he could find out through the thread.
I still think that's insane.
Yeah, just draw it.
Just draw it back. Well, Prison Break, you get the tattoos
Yeah.
on of the thing. Yeah, that's what you do.
Tattoo Man would be good in Prison Break. He'd get the key.
Yeah, and he goes, oh, you want a map of the prison? That's a map of the prison. So now we cut to everyone doing different sort of tasks. So we've got, this is all, we cut to a montage of all the members of the crew so far doing their various unrelated tasks. So Queen is seen stealing packets of salt from the cafeteria.
Yep.
Pied Piper has got his rats, because there are rats here as well. He's got rats to eat a small tunnel into the wall of the library. So they're chewing away, and he's put a bookshelf in front of it, but they're chewing away. And Tattooed Man, he's taken a Bic pen, the inner workings of a Walkman, the spindle, the gear, and the motor, a paper clip, and masking tape, and he's constructed a homemade tattoo kit, and he starts applying the ink himself.
Cool.
So he's going to draw all the little items on it.
So how many rats are digging this tunnel?
Oh, there's a lot of rats in there.
You'd need a lot of rats.
There's a lot of rats.
You'd need a lot of rats.
You know how? Have you heard there's a plague of mice in Central Australia? Yeah. Well, it's way more than that.
Well, I've just got some questions.
Okay.
One being, he's efficiently hiding presumably thousands of rats.
Yeah.
And then my fear would be that they would go, the rats have completed the tunnel, they've made it outside, and then you move the bookcase and it is a rat-sized hole.
I just didn't explain. You got to explain. I'm good with. See, he's good with ants.
Yeah.
Rats, they're a bit more confusing. The next morning, we meet Queen in the rec yard, and he sort of walks up to Tattooed Man. He pushes his new tattoos out, and he gives all the items to Queen. He has nearly all his supplies now. He's in the yard lifting weights when the Pied Piper sort of sits next to him. Now there's pigeons around,
great.
and they're cooing to distill the microphone. So there's a lot of cooing going on. Queen then scoops up some of their droppings into a sock, and Hartley, which is Pied Piper's name, he says, "You've got some strange hobbies, Queen, but this will be important
Okay.
later on. Yeah. Now,
I would love if they didn't explain it.
Oh, that would
Get to
be
the end
good,
of the
wouldn't
film,
it?
he's like, "What? Why did he do the pigeon shit in this song?"
And this show just ends with them throwing pigeon shit at the camera. The end. Finn. Now, they're talking to each other as the pigeons are cooing. He says, okay, now all we need, when the system goes haywire, all the doors are going to freeze and they go into mandatory lockdown. So we need someone to get on the other side of the door to override it.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
So who do you think we're going to get to do that?
Our old mate in, what was his name?
Split. Teleporter
Split.
guy. Yeah,
Split.
yeah. So we hard cut to Split and he's stacking shelves in the library. Queen tells him the plan and he's in. Now they need to gather up some more crew members for specific tasks.
He can't just teleport out of the prison.
No, because he'll be zapped.
Yeah,
and
but if
stuff.
there's a radius thing. Remember we said once we're out of the prison, the radius
Yeah, but
doesn't affect.
You know what? They put a line in later in
Okay,
that
yeah, yeah,
explains
yeah. Okay,
exactly
good.
your point, Cambo.
Okay,
so they
good.
must have known you were coming.
I'll delete it from my email.
Yeah, do. They do explain that. So they gather up. There's a couple more tasks they need. So they go through. This is when they're really getting the crew together.
But the crew so far, Green Arrow,
Okay, Green Arrow.
Pied Piper,
Piper.
the tattooed man,
Tattoo Man. He actually not part of the crew. He just gave them stuff. He's not escaping. Yeah.
Split.
Yep.
And the one in the super secure. He's going to short out.
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah.
Denjin.
Yeah, Dejin. Yeah.
Dejin, yeah.
So he's in there, right? But there's a couple more things they need to do.
Yep.
So once they hit the Pacific Ocean, they need someone to manipulate the currents, right?
Sure.
So they arrive at they're just strolling.
Current man.
Well, no, not quite. They arrive at another Class 5 cell, Cascade. Yeah, a young Indian woman is naked in a bath. Her body morphs between flesh and liquid. We flash to the French Riviera with a huge tidal wave rises in the shape of Cascade's face. So she killed like hundreds of people in the river. That's why she's in here. Queen doesn't like it. They're pulling someone in that's killed all these people, but he reluctantly agrees for her because they need someone to control the tides.
Do they explain what these other prisoners are in for?
No.
Okay. Hopefully it's not like murdering kids or something.
Yeah, well, maybe it's like it is the
Yeah.
Pied Piper.
Split.
So,
Come on, join us in our escape.
why are you
What did
here?
you do?
Because
I mutilated heaps of kids.
because he comes across really friendly,
Yeah.
like this young friendly.
But that's how you get the kids.
Yeah. Exactly. In the distance, we see Gemini. Remember, we met her at the start. She sort of watches on. She approaches Queen as he leaves the conversation with Cascade.
Hey, we never really met. I'm Gemini.
I already know who you are.
Cut to a nightclub in panic. Armed police sprint at the nightclub as panicked spectators run out. One of them morphs into the body of Gemini, who walks calmly from the scene of the crime. We cut back to the laundry room, where Gemini pushes something into Queen's hand. It's a children's drawing of a setting sun. Queen turns the paper over and sees scrawled on the back, "I know what you're planning."
They allow gifts once a year on your birthday. It's for my daughter. She's 8. Wish I could see her again.
So Gemini wants to get in, but he's like, "No, you're not.
No deal. For some reason.
You're not doing it. You're not doing it for us, mate."
Yeah. The murderer, the woman that killed all these people, she's in.
Yeah, she's in.
Yeah.
But
Not you.
not this girl with her little 8-year-old daughter. No. So we're then back to planning the escape and getting more crew members. It seems like they want everyone but Gemini.
Everyone but Gemini.
Everyone but Gemini.
It'll just be her left in the prison at the end.
Yeah, it's just going, come on, everyone's involved.
The guards are out.
The guards are, yeah, exactly. So they still need to find a way, once they get out there, they can control the current, but they still need to float home, right?
Also, don't they still need to work out where they are?
Yeah, well, this is right.
yeah.
But, okay, now this is the line that I told you about before that was coming up that I thought about it. So they go, "Oh, look, we need to find a way to float home." They go, "Why can't Split just teleport, like once we're out of the prison, why can't you teleport home?" And he says, "Hey, man, I can't teleport that far. I'm just a C-list villain."
Okay.
So he literally refers to himself
it's,
as look at your disdain on your face, Cambo.
Well, there's a screenwriting thing called hanging a lantern.
Yeah. A green lantern?
Maybe we should explain is that if you know something is dumb, but you point it out in the script, people are more forgiving of it. And it's called you hang a lantern. You literally are like, check this out. Like hang a lantern as in to draw attention to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Deadpool does it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a very big hanging a lantern kind of moment.
He's like, well,
To be like, yeah, this is a plot hole. We know it's a plot hole, so I'm just going to say, oh, I can't unsee this villain.
yeah, very good. Now, Hartley, congratulations. Now, Hartley, the Pied Piper, he wants someone that can freeze the water. Yeah?
There's a guy like that.
Yeah. The guy that wants to kill
Icicle.
Queen. Yeah, Icicle. Yes, Canvas. So you remember.
Took me a sec.
Yeah, no, you got there.
I don't know if you saw my blank-eyed stare as I stared off to the middle distance to try and remember that name.
Fans will recognise him as Icicle. Early morning in A block corridor, a new prisoner arrives. It's Merlin, and he's a man on a mission. He arrives in his cell and he makes his way to the toilet. He starts retching into the toilet bowl. Yeah? Except what he's actually doing is he's removing a false tooth from his mouth, and he pulls out a length of metal wire.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what do you think he's going to do with this metal wire?
Stab or choke?
You're wrong. He's going to fashion a bow. Mate, it's the Green Arrow movie. Of course they're going to do that.
Sorry, there's just been so little bows in this.
I know. So they've got to make up for it.
Yeah.
Then we cross back to Queen sitting in the rec yard. We see Merlin across the other side staring at him. And Merlin's got his hands underneath the table, and he pans down. We see him peeling off lengths of wood from underneath the table, yeah? Yeah, this is how silly it gets. Then we're in the laundry room, and Merlin, he pushes a basket and he bends over to tie his shoelace, but he actually removes two of the wheels.
Okay.
And he puts them in his his shoe to hide them. And then we see him in his cell with his covers up. It says over. I just imagine him with them over his head.
Little blanket form.
And he's fashioning small sort of pointy bolts in there, right? So he's making a bow, mate. He's making a bow just from things around. He's MacGyvering it. He's MacGyvering it. So he's his opposite. He's his evil opposite. We're back in the rec yard during the day, and everyone is sort of filing back to their cells. The Pied Piper Hartley, he draws a line in the sand. Split walks past, and he nods at Queen. It's time.
Okay.
So everything's in place now. Yeah. Everything's ready for action.
Everyone's on board, except Gemini, obviously. You'd never take Gemini.
Devin, don't even joke about that, mate.
Sorry.
You don't even want Gemini in the vicinity of this escape. Yeah. We then cut to each of the crew in their cell as they're waiting for the signal, because we've got Icicle, we've got Pied Piper, we've got Cascade, we've got Split, we've got Queen. They're all getting sort of pumped. Yeah. We're then with Merlin, we're then in Merlin's cell, and a guard enters. The guard says, cameras have been cut. You have 1 hour, courtesy of Mr. Cross. Merlin opens up his mattress, revealing a full compound bow and arrows he made from items around the prison. So that's the reveal, Cam. So you put it together early. You figured out what was happening early. That's the big reveal for the audience.
Oh, right. So they weren't supposed to know.
No, not at all. Then we're in back in April.
Even if that had been hidden, when that happened, I think the audience would have gone, well, duh.
It ends up being like a shotgun. It's like, what the hell? Did not see that coming. Oh my God. We're back in A block, and Queen, he's on janitor duty. So everything's coming together.
Yep.
He slowly cleans the floor. He's going towards prisoner 1803. That's Dudgeon. He kneels before it, pretending to scrub the floor. He has an aluminum piece of metal, and he sort of angles it towards the security eye, and it's sort of the glare obscures the view for a moment. Queen whispers into the cell, "You don't know me, but you want to." And he throws in the flash drive. Yeah, so he sort of shows the flash drive. Mm-hmm. It's made from all the parts the tattooed man sort of had brought him, so he put it all together. Queen tells him that he's going to inject him into a terminal. Dudgeon's eyes light up with binary numbers moving back and forth. He hands Queen back the flash drive. Queen sort of basically, he's got gum in his mouth. He spits out this gum. He jams it into the electronic hinges of the door. Then he takes 2 wires and connects the flash drive to the gum to the door hinge, right?
Yes.
And then he pushes on the door, and it jump starts the flash drive somehow through science, through the connection to the door.
Yep.
As soon as there's power to it, the flash drive lights up. Dudgeon, he puts his hand on the door, and he starts to slowly drift into a binary state. So Matrix
This
phone
is
style.
interesting because I hadn't considered that they have not consulted this guy on their plan whatsoever at this point.
Oh, no.
They're really backing on the fact that he will
do
like,
this.
all right,
Yeah, this is cool. So he downloads...
And it worked.
100%. What else is he doing, mate? He's doing nothing. So he's doing a Matrix. So basically he gets into the flash drive and he disappears into it. So now he's in the flash drive and he goes, are you in there? And the little light on the flash drive blinks twice. Of course it does. Queen then removes it, puts it in his pocket. He then makes his way to the laundry room, but we see a shadow stalking him in the background. A noise. He ducks just as an arrow whizzes past. Queen looks up to Merlin. He fires another arrow and another one. Then he aims at the lights, knocking out all the lights. We're in total pitch darkness now. Merlin fires again, but Queen catches it in midair and snaps it in half, because he can do that. Merlin jumps down from the sort of catwalk. He pulls out another arrow. Framing you was one thing, but killing you doesn't get any better than that. He fires, and then Queen grabs a steel plate underneath him and uses it to divert the arrow back into Merlin's face, cutting apart his cheek and teeth. Yeah?
Okay.
So I don't know how that happens.
Aerodynamically, it's a challenge.
Did you say aerodynamically?
I maybe. If I did, I didn't mean to.
Very good. So that's one magic arrow.
That is one magic arrow.
I think that's quite ingenious.
Yeah.
So then,
look, I am not like an aerospace engineer or anything like that, but I would think it would just stop dead and fall to the floor.
So would I, Cambo. So would I. Look, I haven't been to Arrow School, but who knows? Who knows? He's the Green Arrow. He can do this stuff. The alarms then go off. Guards run into the catwalk. They then open fire, like to the ground, and Queen sort of jumps to the side. A hail of bullets fly down past him, and he starts crawling his way. He sees a USB terminal just up near the door. He then reaches out, sprints towards it, and inserts it into the terminal, his little flash drive. Then we hear...
So there's just a USB port in the wall?
There's a lot of weird things on walls, Cambo.
That's why they should stop rotating the prison.
Yeah, exactly. It's their own fault. So then we hear this inhumane bellow, and then all hell breaks loose. In the script it says, total fucking chaos.
Cool.
Love it. Cool.
Is that in bold or something?
Yeah, big time. All the cameras are off, the lights are off, but most importantly, all the parallax devices are suddenly shut off. Split instantly teleports out of his cell to the pulley and levers the system down. This opens all the doors. We see Cascade sort of melting through her bars, like the T-1000, very T-1000 here. Waller runs into the main control room. A technician turns to her. It's some kind of virus. Whatever. Yep. We see Shock Trauma going nuts with his restored powers. He's just electrocuting anyone that's near him. Blockbuster runs up to him, grabs him by the neck, and crushes his larynx. The crew then all meets up and they start making their way to the library. Yep. As they're running there, we see Icicle. He creates sort of a sharp ice projectile in his hands and he throws it straight at Queen, sort of at the back of his head as Queen's running away. But then Cascade puts her hands up and she melts it in midair and she says, we still need him.
Yeah.
We need to work together. Queen looks at Icicle. Icicle just says, just because you broke me out doesn't make us even. Okay, cool, Icicle.
I was trying to work out at the point in which Oliver Queen isn't needed for this plan. And it's pretty much straight away.
Yeah. well, there's some other things that he pulls out. He's other MacGyver things he pulls out that these guys were not aware of.
Yeah.
So they reach the library, but the door is still locked. They have to wait for Split because the thing's on the other side. They turn around and they see Split running out. He goes, hey guys. And then suddenly a fist punches through Split's chest and rips him apart. It's Blockbuster. He wanted a ticket on this field trip. And he's not going to take no for an answer, right? So there goes Blockbuster. He looks at them and goes, you want to get through this door? And they go, yes, you just killed our way to get through it. And he sort of shrugs and he rips the door from its hinges and pulls it off. They go, okay, that's one way to do it. So he goes, okay, Queen's like, yep.
Who gives a shit about Split?
Yeah, you're in.
I never really liked him anyway.
Exactly. You're in now. So he's part of the team now. Split's out. They run through another corridor, but another emergency door kicks in and seals in front of them. Blockbuster tries to punch through this one, but it's too thick. They did need Split after all. God damn it. Just then, a guard walks on the other side towards them. and then suddenly transforms into Gemini. She's got a key card, and she opens the door, and it opens up.
I wouldn't go through.
No, I say nah.
Nah. I'm going to stay here.
Nah, sorry,
You're
mate.
not coming.
I've said, and she looks at him. She goes, "You owe me one." Yeah, like sass, like all sass. Suddenly, the power comes back on, and all the prisoners
Fist through her chest. Split her apart.
instantly. Suddenly, the power comes back on, and all the prisoners who were using their powers go into epileptic shock. Wella's camera all turn back on, and she quickly zooms in on Queen's empty cell. We cut to the checkmate trackers being brought into Wella's office. In the script, they're called the most badass Spec Ops team you've ever seen. You can only... this is great. I love when they write these lines because no one ever sees these lines. Yeah. So they write in it, you only call these guys when shit hits the fan, and it just hit. Like, that's in the script. That's in there. No one ever sees it, Camo. Now, all these checkmate trackers, they've got it's like an alien beeper tracking thing, and it's like beep beep beep, and they're following the parallax symbols. So they're getting this elite squad. They're making their way to the library because they know that's where they're at. So they get their weapons drawn. They walk inside. They get closer and closer. They kick open the bookcase that's in front of them, and they reveal a gaping hole.
Human-sized.
It's human-sized, exactly, not rat-sized. But then suddenly, hundreds of rats start crawling out, and they've all got blood covering their faces, human blood, and in front of them are the 6 parallax devices. So the rats gnawed out everyone's things. I think you just probably cut them out or something.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you need a knife or something. They don't have weapons, do they? They just have their powers.
Well, Queen has taken... Oh, I didn't mention that, did I? Queen took Merlin's bow when they think so. He picked up some of that, but he doesn't
shoot him out.
Yeah, shoot him. Yeah, exactly. We cut to a group of escapees running down a spherical corridor. Yeah, the device is gnawed out in their arms.
Yeah.
They've
all got rabies.
All rabied up. So they're all foaming at the mouth, and they're having trouble swallowing. They reach a giant void, and they can see the hydraulic arms moving the hallways around. So they're sort of they can see the inner workings now. And they look up, and they sort of see everything working. And what do you think Queen does? He gets out
his t-shirt.
He gets out his weave.
Yeah.
He gets out his weave, and he sees all the things moving. He goes, "There, hurry!" And they start jumping from platform to platform as Queen sort of consults his weave, and they sort of make their way across. A few times they almost fall, but they get to the other the catwalk on the other side.
Yep.
Then there's a hatch there, and in front of them, it just has a simple sign saying "Exit." Now, Blockbuster is going to go grab it, but instead, Queen pulls out his tube sock and uses one of Merlin's arrows that he picked up. Right? He sparks it, lights the end of the sock, and then throws it onto the hatch, and it explodes. So basically, bird poo mixed with sodium is an explosive. Okay. Did you know that?
No.
I didn't go to science school.
Or bomb school.
Or bird shit school. But this is the thing.
Yeah, okay.
So MacGyver. Classic MacGyver.
Yeah. So he shot that at it with the thing, or did he just throw it?
He just threw it. He just lit it, used it to light, and then threw it. Yeah. They all walk through this sort of exploded door, and they walk outside to see where they actually are. Yeah. This is the big reveal, Cambo. They come outside the door, and it reveals that they're in another dome. A bigger dome. It's a bigger dome. And this dome is an enormous LCD screen made to look like blue sky with ocean underneath.
Okay, so when they look out.
It's a
that's
Truman
what they
Show
see.
Situation. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Cascade. She then walks over to a pipe near them, and she feels it, and she realizes they must be underground. And she can feel sort of the water being pushed up in the pipe. Blockbuster then smashes the pipe, and it sort of opens, and they see flowing water. So Cascade, using her sort of powers, sort of shoots the water up, and then they don't know what else to do, so they all jump in the pipes one at a time, and they ride the water pressure all the way up to the roof. So they keep going up, they go up, then they burst out into bright whiteness, and then they land on something hard. They shield their eyes from the glare until they sort of find their bearings. We zoom out to reveal...
a third dome.
No. Where do you think... I'll give you one more guess.
Blinding white glare. I don't know.
They're in Antarctica. That's right. They're now in the Arctic tundra. Snow white everywhere as far as they can see.
Snow White's there.
Yeah, exactly. Dwarfs come out looking grumpy. Then suddenly, a wall in the dome behind them opens and the checkmate soldiers start pouring out on snowmobiles. They start running. Like they go, okay, everyone run. But then Cascade takes a step. But it's cold now. So her leg starts freezing over in midair.
Of course.
The extreme cold starts rising up her body. She looks at Pied Piper in fear. Before she can say anything, she's frozen solid. Then the checkmate troopers start firing bullets. One of them hits her and she shatters. Yeah, T-1000 style.
Classic.
Yeah, classic. You can see that happening.
She's been doing a lot of T-1000 things.
Massively.
Dressed as a cop.
She doesn't come back. She doesn't back up though. Everyone is running except for Queen. Queen stands his ground, pulls out Merlin's last arrow, and this is where it gets.
This is where it gets weird.
This is where it gets weird in terms of his MacGyvering. So he does. It says in the script he manipulates the sort of the guiding fin a little bit in his hand, and then he fires it as a snowmobile. So it flies along. It's getting ridiculous now because it hits one of the snowmobile's spokes.
And it finishes, that's all we do.
That's what you think in a normal film, Cambo.
Because he changed the fin, of course.
Yeah, he changed the fin. So then it hits that, and then the fin snaps off, and then it ricochets to its right and banks right to hit another snowmobile, causing
and then
that...
stops.
No.
What?
So then it glances off that one and sort of hits the control to then make that one crash into the third snowmobile. Wow. And then Queen turns around and says, "There's our rides." And they get onto the snowmobiles, Cambo. They get onto the snowmobiles. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm going to cancel the rest of the season.
Yeah. What, because it can't
if
get any
this is
better?
what it's come to, there's no point going on.
Are you kidding me, Cambo? These are magic fucking arrows.
They are. And like they were made from scrap around a prison.
That's so true as well. I forgot about that. It's ridiculous.
I would assume that there's a lot of engineering in an arrow to make it super dynamic.
Aerodynamic, yeah. No.
Any old shit will do.
You can just make it under your blanket in your cell. Out of scraps. So they're sitting underneath this thing and they get, Queen opens up the glove compartment of one of the snowmobiles and there's a GPS satellite in there. And as he feared, they're in the middle of Antarctica. So he sees an outpost, but it's a really long way off. They go, okay, so they wait until the chopper sort of leaves, and then when it gets dark, they sort of zoom out, and we've got this, the vehicles all going across Antarctic surface. They ride until their fuel tanks are empty, then they're on foot. They get slower and slower, and they trudge along. Even Icicle is nearing exhaustion, and then they collapse on the ground. The final image is Queen, his POV sort of looking up, and he sees two figures emerge from in front of him. They come out of a hatch in the ground. They walk over to him. And then Queen, he passes out. Then he wakes up only to find himself in an underground science bunker with Hartley the Pied Piper sitting at the end of his bed.
Wake up, Mr. Queen. You're not home yet. You've been out a few hours. Tell me something, Oliver. Do you really think we're all that bad?
Queen looks at Hartley suspiciously. Then suddenly, he reaches out and grabs him by the throat.
Don't do that.
Hartley transforms back into Gemini.
I guess that answers the question.
Queen releases her.
Where are we?
We caught a lucky break. I can't believe it myself. Come see.
They walk down a long corridor of the Antarctic Research Station and find the others eating oatmeal. Liam Ballock stands in front of everyone, a stout Irishman with large hands but kind eyes. He's in the middle of recounting a story about his teenage son, Mick, who sits silently nearby.
Hey, and then Mickey here, he grabs hold of the piston and starts yelling, "Poppy, the walls are coming down!"
Oliver Queen, I'd like you to meet Liam Blalock. He's the one who rescued us.
Are you coming along all right there, eh? You were out there for a while. Good thing we found you as well. You grab yourself a seat. Boy, get up!
Ballock passes Queen a bowl of oatmeal.
Welcome to Beta 6 Echo, Ireland's last standing South Pole research station.
I was just telling Mr. Blaylock about our mining expedition near Vincent Massive.
That's some bad luck there, yeah. Well, sure, good luck as it happens finding us.
We're looking to get to this port. Can you help us?
Oh, sure thing. I mean, how the boy and I, we can even take it there ourselves.
Well, isn't this just our lucky day?
So you're like, okay, so they've been
Yep.
sort of rescued,
Right, yep.
and you're like, okay, this is cool. This
Yep.
is good. But then they love their twists in this Cambo.
okay.
So Gemini walks through a hallway of the complex, and she notices something lining the walls above them. It's fuse wire. Fuse wire connected to C4. What?
Ooh.
What is this place? We cut back to Queen. Hartley's talking to Bollock about what he does here and what they sort of research. Queen's looking through the station's library, and he sees something on a bookshelf. A book. It's called The Handbook of Operation Regulations with the Checkmate logo. It's a trap, Cambo. Queen turns just in time to see Bollock shoot Hartley pipe in the chest. No, he screams as Hartley falls to the ground. He turns to Bollock, who's the gun pointed at him. Just as he's about to fire, dozens of rats fall from the roof. distracts him as Queen jumps on him, mounts him, disarms him, and knocks him out. Queen next to Hartley. The rats sort of all surround him. He's lying down. We see the Piper's eyes go black, and all the rats sort of bow their head in like, oh, our boss is gone. We see Checkmate soldiers come around the corridors. Blockbuster and Gemini rush in with Icicle. What did we miss? We've got to get out of here. Blockbuster looks up and sees a duct in the roof leading to the surface. He jumps up and starts climbing. Before the others can follow, he turns around and twists the grate shut, locking everyone inside. He laughs. Blockbuster, you son of a bitch. Don't worry, Queen's got another idea. The Checkmate soldiers all come around the corner, only to see Bollock standing dazed. The soldiers walk past him, but as they do, he changes into Gemini. Yes. She pulls out the smoke grenades on their belts and lets them off, providing cover for the team as they run past. Gemini then proceeds to morph in and out of Checkmate soldiers' attire, so she looks like them, knocking out all the members of the squad. Think like Black Widow, Mystique sort of style. Yeah. They all then arrive at the Snowcat and they pile inside. Queen starts the engine and it roars to life. We cut back to Waller, seeing her team all down. She's watching a little video thing. She shakes her head. Sorry, Queen. And she takes a key from her neck, inserts it into a red switch, and pulls a lever.
What?
Yeah.
So she unlocks a button to pull a lever.
Yeah, that's what it says in the script. The Snowcat then clears the edge of the hangar, sort of shoots out, and then boom, this huge explosion. The entire base blows up. We cut to Blockbuster still climbing up the shaft, and a fireball engulfs him.
Good. He deserved that.
That was for Split. We're now in an Arctic port, so we'd just leave that. We cut straight to an Arctic port, and they're all scanning shipping containers, loading onto a freighter.
Before we get to the port, can I just ask why the Czech soldiers thought if they found everyone passed out and unconscious,
Why they just
instead of
didn't
tying them up and sending them back, they thought it was a better idea to all become characters in a research station and make them think they're escaping and then blow them up.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense,
It doesn't make any sense.
Just tie them up.
And just shoot him. Shoot him in the head right there.
Shoot him.
They're collapsed on the ground.
But what you don't know...
Presumably your arm.
What don't you know
bang.
about these, and maybe I didn't mention it, but they are aspiring improvisation performers.
If there's a chance to work on a character you've been developing.
Exactly. So, but he wasn't even Irish. He was just like playing it up. Yeah, exactly. So now it makes a bit more sense. Yeah. So we're at this port, and then what they're doing, to make sure there's no one in any of the containers, they're scanning them for thermal activity, right, as they're being hoisted on board. Yep. What could they do to stop that?
If there was
only
someone
a
that
guy.
had ice powers.
We zoom inside one container as Icicle is creating a thick layer of ice.
I feel like they should have thought of that.
Yeah, they definitely should have thought that.
We're scanning all these for thermal activity.
Yeah.
Unless there's any information you could tell us that would render this moot.
Who else escaped? What were their powers? Oh, that won't be important. Yeah. That couldn't possibly be important.
We just want Queen.
So then we zoom into another container.
Yeah.
Icicle's doing that, and they mentioned that it's because I know what you're going to say. They'll starve going back from this. Well, they're in a garbage-filled container and they mentioned the word scraps. Okay. They said, "Oh, these scraps will." So they think of everything. This Justin.
I'll delete that from my email.
Yeah, good, very good. So obviously they don't see their Higgs signature. They sit in silence on a pile of garbage, and they finally can rest a little bit. Queen puts his arm over Gemini, pulls her close, and he's like, "We did it. Good on you." We're now back in Star City again, in the harbour. A container cracks open. Queen, Icicle, and Gemini emerge. Icicle and Queen, they look at each other. This is where they part ways. Look, They're frenemies now.
Yep.
Queen encourages him to stay on the straight and narrow, or else he'll come looking for him. They shake hands and part ways. So that's Icicle's done.
Yep.
Queen wants to, he walks to a payphone and he jimmies it and he has to make a call. We cut to Hackett. His phone's ringing. He picks it up. Hackett looks nervous. It's Queen on the other end. I need your help. Hackett starts sweating. We cut to Star City Metro Station and we see Queen and Gemini watch Hackett approach. Queen descends from the roof and he sort of sneaks up behind Hackett. He turns around. He shakes his hand and they embrace. Because remember, Queen doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know. But then he sort of looks up at Gemini and Gemini is pointing around to a group of plainclothes cops, all with earpieces in. Queen notices undercover agents everywhere. He's looking around now. You didn't notice them before, though. It's another trap, Cambo.
Another dome.
They're inside another dome. It's a dome with... They never left the prison. They never left. Queen looks at Hackett. And first he's confused, but then the gears start working. He finally puts it all together. Hackett is the one that betrayed him. Queen pushes past him and runs into the metro station. Police all begin to swarm. Gemini turns into an old Chinese woman and walks off. Yeah, she's out of there. Queen darts from building to building, from alley to alley. He's sort of ducking in and out of places. Everyone's sort of chasing him. He gets up onto another roof. He goes through there and he finds himself in a stationery store. He grabs some pens and he uses them as darts, hitting the police's legs to make them all, fall over. I don't know how you make darts out of pens, but...
It's just if you put them between your middle two fingers and split them so you could...
Okay. Look, it's no arrow that splits off into three directions or anything like that. He's catching his breath and Gemini appears behind him. I thought you left, he says. She replies, I thought you could use my help. She's
been so useful.
Oh, for someone that they didn't want involved, she has been as useful as. Okay, so now we're getting to the climactic end now, Cambo.
Yep.
We cut back to Queen's safe house. He's now got back there and it's filled with backup equipment. He's got bows, bloody crossbows, everything.
Are we going to get a commando style?
He's loading up.
Yeah,
he's loading up with everything,
great.
absolutely everything. Now we're back with Hackett in his private office at night. He looks out over the night sky. He's got a drink in his hand. He sees something coming towards him. What do you think it could be, Kev?
A giant man full of bow and arrows?
It's simply a green arrow flying through. It hits the glass, detonates, shatters glass everywhere. Then a zip line arrow comes in, and then following it comes the green arrow, mask, quiver, bow, standing
goatee.
In full force. Well, yeah. Imagine you just stuck on a goatee just for the effect. Exactly. Queen makes quick work of Hackett's security, like doing all James Bond style.
James Bond.
Oh, James Bond. Oh, that's a crossover movie I want to see. They have a kid together. He fires tranquilizer darts from his mounted crossbow, so he's knocking everyone out.
Yep.
Hackett runs for the door, out to the roof. Queen runs out onto the roof after Hackett. Just as he gets out there, a fire axe swings past his head.
You're like a bad penny. You know that? Every time I throw you out, somehow the tide brings you back.
Queen suddenly has a look of realization. We cut back to the expensive yacht 12 years ago in a flashback. The younger Queen drunkenly pissing off the side of the boat while the party goes on behind him. Unseen, a younger Hackett approaches, also drunk, walks up behind Queen and pushes him in the back as he tumbles into the water.
It was you. You're the reason I fell in the first place.
Look at yourself, Ollie. This is how you've been your whole life. You're not Robin Hood. You're Peter Pan, the spoiled kid who never had to grow up. Every time you got in trouble, fate was always there to bail you out.
We're back on the rooftop. Hackett grabs the axe handle, squeezing it tightly.
Then there's me. That's the best part. I cleaned up every mess you ever made. And what have you given me for it? Nothing. No partnership, not even a share. When Cross made me his offer, it was the best I'd gotten in years.
Villain monologue. Check.
Yeah, monologue. Yeah, he's monologuing. He's monologuing.
Great.
So he's got the axe in his hand, and then he swings again at Queen. But Queen then sweeps the leg and trips him up. The rest of Hackett's security arrives on the rooftop, but then Gemini appears behind them, and she transforms into a really burly guard and sort of throws them into each other, and then she turns into a nimble gymnast and like throws one with her legs. Cool. Yeah, so she changes during the fight, which is pretty cool. Then a police chopper appears above them and opens fire. Hackett leaps from the roof of the terrace. Gemini dives inside the stairwell as the chopper hits a gas main, causing a huge fireball to erupt. They lose sight of both Gemini and Queen. We cut back to Hackett. He feels someone stalking him. He looks around, but Queen emerges and fires an arrow that ties up his legs. Hackett falls to the ground and Queen stands above him. Hackett begs for his life, but then the helicopter light picks up Queen. Put your hands up, you're surrounded. Queen looks around and he drops his bow. Cut back to Queen in Supermax prison again. Yeah, just when you thought it was over, Cambo, he's now back in the hole.
Yep. Queen, we're gonna have to do a part 3.
Mate, just he loves the twist, mate. Loves the twist. We're now back in the hole. Queen doesn't say a word. Waller looks at him, slams the viewing hatch shut. 3 weeks later, they pull Queen from the hole and into the VIP viewing room.
Got us some VIP FaceTime. No more games. It's over. Pass me the company and I'll make sure your charities stay protected. Fine. You're going to die in here, Ollie. Alone. On another desert island. And you know what? I'm glad. I was having my doubts, but looking at you here, smiling, that same son of a bitch, I have no regrets.
But then, Cambo, a door opens behind Hackett, and in walks Oliver Queen. Clean cut and wearing a nice suit, looking like he hasn't spent a single day in prison. The smile drops right off Hackett's face.
I hope there's no secret microphone in this room. We know there's secret microphones all over the prison.
Mate, there's too many pigeons around cooing. Hackett can't believe his eyes. He's incredulous. He looks back at the Queen on the other side of the glass. It transforms into Gemini.
I'm seeing double. 4 Oliver Queens.
And then Gemini has the same smile on her face, but she's got a middle finger to go up with it. Yeah.
Punk rock.
Oh, yeah.
A little research I did these last few weeks. It appears that our old friend Merlin has become a bit of a born-again. He confessed to the murder of Colonel Khalid on your payroll.
William Hackett, you're hereby placed under arrest.
This is laughable. This is insane.
Anything you say can be held against you.
Don't let them do this, Ollie.
This is where we say goodbye, old friend.
They drag him away.
Okay, so some development for Merlin off screen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, by the way, he just basically was like, oh, yeah, I did all this bad stuff. Here you go, man.
I guess I'll stay in prison.
Don't know why. Don't know why any of this happens. So it's a double twist.
Also, big ups to Gemini for sticking out 3 weeks in the hole.
I know.
She's gone above and beyond. She hasn't even seen her kid yet.
Well, it's funny you say that because as Hackett is being dragged off, we cut to federal marshals walking into Amanda Waller's office with handcuffs as the TV's on behind her. Then the TV says,
"The new allegations cite the Checkmate organization as the chief transgressor. The Supermax prison for metahumans has a variety of violations including guard corruption, collusion, and abuses of the Geneva Convention."
We then cut to Cross at his office. Yeah, he's watching the TV with Oliver Queen's pardon being announced. The police are banging on his door. They enter only to find broken glass where the high-rise window once was. Cross has jumped out. That's a little morbid for the end. Now we're back at the VIP visiting room. Gemini looks out of the glass. Queen approaches her. "I've got something that I want to show you." And then Rogue runs up to the glass. That's Gemini's kid, not the X-Men superhero. Gemini starts to cry. Queen has adopted Rogue and tells her that they can visit every year. Yeah, once a year, that's all right.
Yeah, better than nothing.
Yeah, and she does not live in the foster home anymore, which is good. Gemini smiles a thank you. Queen makes a fist and places it on the glass, and Gemini follows suit. We see Oliver Queen on the roof of the Supermax helipad. Him and Rogue get into one helicopter as Waller is being led away in handcuffs to another. Waller yells out to him.
You won't accomplish anything. I thought you were one of the good guys.
Queen answers, always. Fade to black.
Whoa. Being a 2008 movie, I imagine the title would come up at the end and then an arrow would smash through it. With some new metal song.
Yeah.
Down.
Come like a bomb. So there we have it, Michael Cambo. Green Arrow, Escape from Supermax. That is it in a nutshell. What are your initial thoughts?
There are less arrows than I was expecting.
Yep.
Makes sense. So I think contextually that works.
Yep.
Like, if it was, say, in the Suicide Squad, where Captain Boomerang throws one boomerang, but there's no reason that he can't throw boomerangs.
Yeah.
He's annoying, but there's a reason that he can't shoot arrows, so that makes sense. It's cool.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got its moments, and we all know what it is.
Yeah.
That
let's not speak of the ant conversation.
Oh, actually, yeah, that, and I would say the magic
the magic arrow.
Yeah. It's got moments in it that are questionable.
Yeah.
But as a concept, it's cool. I love the idea of a superhuman, metahuman escape.
Prison escape. Yeah. Or a heist. Yeah. Or just like you put a team together with people who have special abilities. So it's basically like X-Men, but they have to rob something or escape from a prison.
Yeah. Love
that. It's a cool idea.
Yeah.
It's a very cool idea.
The prison is cool.
Yep.
I don't fully understand the thread. What does he use to escape? His weave?
Yeah, I can't actually wrap my head around that, and let alone filming it so it would look convincingly.
I don't
cool.
get how he keeps pulling it out
like a map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Yeah.
It's chock full. I mentioned the MacGyver Bourne references at the start, and it's chock full of it.
Absolutely.
But he doesn't give it credit though. He doesn't feel like Batman.
No.
In it.
Yeah. He doesn't. Yeah.
And that's probably something that they really want to do, because remember this is just after Batman Begins. Dark Knight's just happening, so it's like, well, we don't want it to feel like he's Batman escaping a prison.
I totally agree. I think it doesn't feel like a Batman clone.
But I will tell you this though, Cambo, for those that were fans of the CW Arrowverse show, Arrow,
I think I was aware of this.
Season 7 sees Oliver Queen is he's unmasked as the Green Arrow, put in prison. The prison that they get sent him to is called Slabside, and he spends a big chunk of the season in similar situations, getting into fights. So it's sort of like he has the bathroom scene and he has to do sort of a few little things. They get sent to a different level where like Talia al Ghul's down there and things like that. So you get sort of Supermax light in that season. So they took some things from this idea and managed to still get something
I remember
out of it.
they was slightly adapting it. They said at the time like it wouldn't be a full adaptation of the movie, but they're going to use some of the ideas that were never used in it.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So
it's kind of cool that it lived on in some way.
Yeah, in some other way. And look, there are people that love the Arrowverse and that sort of side of the CW.
And good luck to them. So I say tip of the cap.
Tip of the cap. Not of the head. But that is where the chips lie for the Green Arrow and escaping the Supermax.
Okay, so then we need to answer the age-old question. The question on which this whole podcast is based. Would you want to see this movie?
Cambo, yes, I would.
Yeah, for the ant sequence alone.
Just how they would film that.
Yeah.
That alone, Cambo. And you know what? I think the idea of getting all these different people with powers to break out of a prison.
Yeah, great.
It's
make it now.
Make it right now. It's like the Great Escape. Yeah. They're coming up with the plan. They're putting it all together. I think it's a great idea, and it's a shame that it never got made into a proper feature film.
Warner Brothers, man.
Mate.
More on that next week.
Yeah. That's fine.
Well, we have come to the end of our cancelled movie report on Green Arrow, Escape from Supermax. We hope you enjoyed this movie, and we would love you to subscribe, be it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. It honestly really does help us get discovered in the charts. It would also be terrific if you could leave us a 5-star rating, or most importantly of all, tell a friend. We're completely independent here at Cancelled Movie Report, so your support means the world to us. Hey, what did you think of the movie? And did we miss anything? We would love to hear from you. You can always get in touch with us via cancelledmovies@gmail.com or @cancelledmovies on all of the socials. Hey, maybe there's a cancelled movie project you've always wanted to hear about. Why not let us know? You can fill out the form in the episode description alerting us to a project, and we may just give it the cancelled movie report treatment. I'm Michael Campbell, and I've hosted and edited this episode. Eden Porter was my co-host too, and we both produced the show. We would like to thank our amazing voice cast, all of which are listed in the episode notes below. Make sure you're listening next week as we're covering the original version of Batman vs. Superman from the early 2000s, and we're joined by special guests, our friends from Escape This Podcast. But if you can't wait, here's a quick sneak peek.
I wrote after Andy Kevin Walker on this version of Batman versus Superman. With Colin Farrell was cast as Batman, Jude Law was cast as Superman, Wolfgang Pearson was directing. We were in prep, and it was the darkest thing you've ever seen.
But until then, take care.